Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to show you what you can learn from the J.J. Wolf forehand to help improve your forehand. Now first, a big thank you, and you can see the watermark right there. 12KGP Tennis, thank you so much for allowing me to use this video. Please subscribe to their channel. I put their link in the description below. This video of J.J. Wolf taken just a few days ago at the City Open in Washington, D.C. So let's check out something really simple. And there's so much about his forehand that I'm going to talk about in future videos. But I want to teach you something really simple. 2, 1, 2. That is the number of hands that are on the racket during the forehand. The first 2 is during the take back. The 1 is during the drop and the hit. And this 2 is the finish. So, right, it's 2, 1, 2. How many hands are on the racket? So here you can see him take the racket back with 2 hands. Taking the racket back with his left hand on the throat of the racket. That's going to give you 2 things. It's going to allow you to really coil and turn your body away from the court, but it also makes it very easy, kind of foolproof, to make sure that the tip of your racket is pointing up. And when that happens, you then can get gravity-assisted racket speed, and it's going to help you be more relaxed and more efficient and still create a ton of racket speed. So here's the first 2, taking the racket back with 2 hands. Here's the 1, the drop, and then the contact. Obviously, you're going to hit the ball with 1 hand, but then he's going to swing low to high, up through contact, and then he catches the racket in his left hand. Let's go to the next forehand. Turn with 2 hands. Now here he's moving back, so instead of stepping into it with a closed stance, here he's going to move back and use a semi-open stance. But the technique with his racket and his hand are the same. His left hand on the throat of the racket. I want you to go out and film yourself. Film yourself hitting forehands and see if you can look like JJ. And if you've got a mullet, man, as somebody follically challenged, I'm pretty jealous of that mullet. But if you've got a mullet, it's even better. But take the racket back, you know, business in front, party in the back. You got to take the racket back with both hands, then drop the racket down with 1, and then look at his finish, catching the racket with his left hand. And you see Federer do that a lot when he practices. You see Dominic Thiem do this all the time, the way he practices. But I want you to go out and film yourself. Take your racket back with both hands, and then you're going to have to drop below the ball. You can see his racket face closes slightly. This is really important that your strings are tilted slightly down prior to contact. That makes sure that your strings face forward at contact during your low to high swing. You can see the racket goes much higher than his head, and then he catches the racket in his left hand. Now let me show you what this looks like on the Topspin Pro. Now, one of the most important things you can do, and you can do it at home, is film yourself shadow swinging or actually hitting a ball. Have somebody in the driveway toss you a ball and you hit it. And look at what you're doing. There are so many players who have never seen themselves hitting a tennis ball. I mean, we look in the mirror before we leave the house in the morning, right? You got to know what you look like in order to make some changes if it's necessary. So I got the Topspin Pro. I am an affiliate. This is the best product on the market for giving you topspin a ton of control and a ton of confidence. And it makes a great gift. You got a tennis lover in your family, pick up one of these. The link is in the description below. So 2-1-2. It's not complicated, and that's the beauty of it. It's so simple. As Vic Braden says, be brilliant with basics. Take the racket back with both hands, hit with 1, and finish. I'm actually going to choke up so I don't hit the ceiling, but I don't normally hold the racket like this, but I'm going to be able to swing up higher if I choke up a little bit. Turn with both hands, get below the ball. You can see the racket face is closed. We're going to come up. You can notice my non-hitting hand is rising as well. That's going to make it very easy for me to catch the racket really high. But turn with 2 hands. I now get gravity-assisted racket speed, and the tip of the racket up means I can block the ball, I can hit a drop shot. If you're taking the racket down low, you can't do any of that. So you have options when you turn. You can hit an approach shot. When you turn high with both hands, you've now got options. We can drop down below the ball, we're going to swing up as we hit, and we're going to finish high in our left hand. Making sure that we finish high is so important. I know not every pro catches the racket really high up in the air. I totally get it. But recreational players who do that learn so much faster and raise their level of play much quicker than recreational players who swing across. So here's what it looks like in the back. Turn with both hands. You can see my back elbows up. the elbow drops and the racket's open. So that's why you want your elbows up in the ready position. Turn with both hands, drop down below the ball. My racket face is closed. I'm swinging up the back of the ball and I'm going to finish high. 2, 1, 2. 2, 1, 2. I'm just going to hit some shots over and over again. Two, 1, 2. Turn with 2 hands. Hit with 1. Finish with 2. Most players, when they hit the ball, they just smack straight in the back, and then they wonder why the ball goes out. The flatter you hit, and if you aren't somebody who likes to hit topspin, you're really putting a ceiling on your level of play. And you might even notice that as you get better, you become less consistent. Because as you get better, you want to swing faster, but you don't have the control that topspin gives you. So the 2, 1, 2, turn with 2 hands, drop down with 1 lower than the ball, with 1 hand lower than the ball, swinging up the back of the ball and catching high in your opposite hand. Start using the 2, 1, 2 technique on your forehand, and there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.